how much pandering do you believe is just too much? And when I say this, right?
1% pandering is too much.
When I say
Tell
this,
the
right?
fucking truth, and whoever agrees with it agrees with it.
When we see jobs these days, right? We see like quotas being need to be made.
Right.
And I mean, even within my own industry, you have them trying to force women into these spaces. And like,
Right.
listen, I'm a person. I know a few women that do it, and they do a good job. But my field is predominantly male for a reason,
Right.
because
You can take
quite
that piece
frank,
of machinery off your hip. It'll
well,
fracture your hip.
well
It'll
the
take the lower half of their bodies right off.
my job's a very physical one, and just on average, a woman's not going to be able to do it. It's just not, because you're
They don't
pulling
even
it.
want to do those jobs.
You're pulling in wires. You're pulling in lines. You're throwing lines. It's like it's a lot to it. It's a very dangerous. Like, you can die. You can get pinned. Like, you can like steel on steel and get your arm ripped off. Caps in, like, bunch of stuff. I'm not gonna bore you with it, but I think for me is this diversity quota that is now being pandered and have to be met. It just is ridiculous, right? I know this is kind of a sidebar conversation, but I mean, I have single handedly seen diversity hires be fucking awful, but then they're kept because they're in a protected
And you
community.
can't fire them because then you open yourself up to
There,
legal.
there is and I can't name names, but there is a single person on the boats I do know. The only reason he is not fired is because he isn't a diversity hired. He is terrible at his job,
Mm.
doesn't do anything, lazy, doesn't show up for his shifts. He doesn't show up. Like, he'll be a few days late to crew change, but they won't
Few days late?
Yes. They won't fire him because he's a
Union
diversity hire.
and the diversity hire, right?
Yeah. So, and which my union has done fuck all for me, but that's a whole different
Well,
conversation.
you know.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I
so
think,
let me see if I can get through, because you do raise a really, really good point.
Mm.
Because my normal response would have been, you know, and it's still valid to a certain degree, that if there wasn't active discrimination against,
Mhm.
then you would not see this overcorrection. Because people
That's
keep
true.
saying, how do you fix this issue? Because, like, for instance, here in New York City, and it's probably the same where you live too, but here in New York City, the Irish basically have a lock on the fire department and those
That's how it should.
jobs.
Oh yeah.
You said what?
That's a good thing. Yeah.
Okay. um,
More
so
Scottish, but whatever.
so the thing is that, like, you know that the people in your community, you tend to trust them, right? And so
Yeah.
if you're going into a burning building, do you want somebody behind you that you trust? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But the thing is that if a black man can do that job, and he can do it more than adequately, proficiently, should he get a chance to get that job?
Absolutely.
Yes. But when you have human beings making hiring decisions, you're going to get O'Malley that's going to get a closer look than Smith. So,
Yeah.
So how do you actually fix the problem if the people in power don't see it as a problem?
That's a fair fucking argument.
Right? So it's hard. Like, I don't want to see diversity hires because it brings down the quality of whatever service or product that is on offer.
Well,
I want to see the very best people, but we have seen evidence of the very best people not getting opportunities because their bloodline says that they're not connected to the people who make the hiring decisions.
That's a fair point. And the reason why we have these certain hiring practices now is because there was discrimination.
Right.
You still fit. Let's just keep it real. You still face discrimination in the workplace.
Right. Yeah.
Let's keep it real. Like, if they once they meet a certain quota, some companies ain't going past that quota.
Yeah, they're not going past that quota. Exactly.
They go past that quota.
I mean, look at the sports league you love so much.
Yep.
They talk about hiring of black coaches.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Well, they made something called the Rooney Rule.
that no one even uses anymore.
And you know what it is? No, they still abide by it because if you don't,
No, they
then
don't.
you could get
No,
fined
no,
or
they
lose
don't.
draft picks, right?
No.
Well, do you know how they do it? They have the token black guy.
Oh, Jesus.
We're going to do this interview. We're going to talk about hookers and blow for 30 minutes. I'm going to shake your hand. You're going to walk out. And then I'm going to hire the white coach I wanted to hire in the first place.
The thing is, right, and I'll push back a bit on the Rooney Rule in this regard. The Rooney Rule, while its intention was to be good, ruined black head coaches. And I'll tell you why.
Yeah, because even if you hire them, people say, oh, you're just a diversity hire. You're not actually good.
Not even that. What happens when an offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator, they sit for a head coaching job and they keep not getting it? What is the reputation they earn?
Say that one more time.
What happens when an offensive or defensive coordinator sit for a head coaching job interview and never get it? What is the reputation that precedes them?
Oh yeah, that they're not good enough, and then you kind of get stuck with that glass ceiling.
Exactly, and that is what has happened a multitude of times due to that role. I mean, how many times did you see that Kansas City? I know you don't watch it anymore, but this Kansas City head coordinator, brilliant coordinator, get offered these jobs or interviews, I should say, never fucking gets it, and he never was gonna have a fucking chance to get it. But they need to fill quota, so, he's a viable option, so I'll go to him. So then the reputation around the league's like, he's a really good coordinator, but he's not a good head coach. And
yeah, well, you never give him a chance to be a head coach because that white guy, that almost won that playoff game that one time. You know what I mean? You're going to keep giving chance. But the thing is, if the Rooney Rule did not exist, how many
Zero.
Yeah, he's not getting any interviews at all.
No. Listen, I get the intention of it, and it's a great.
It's not an easy problem to solve. It's just not.
It's not the problem. You want to know why it's not easy to solve? Is because there's human beings involved.
Well, the difference, Jimmy Dean, why it's not affirmative action, because affirmative action requires the hiring. The Rooney Rule requires only an interview.
Yeah, I mean, I think when it kind of comes down to it, with biases and diversity hires.
And that's why I keep saying to you, I don't have a problem if you're racist. But if you're materially harming people with your racism, with discriminatory practices that get in the way of them having the same opportunities to live their life as you do, now I've got a problem with you. Do you think his life would be more fulfilled as a defensive coordinator or as a head coach?
Oh, head coach, obviously.
Right. So we know that somebody is materially harming this man for no reason other than his skin color. I have a problem with that.
Yeah. I mean, but the problem is that, and I'm not usually one to spout these type of ideals, but just the truth, because I feel like it's human nature. Like we're tribalistic.
Absolutely.
So like when you have a bunch of white owners, who are they going to want in these certain positions? Honestly, like, for example, my favorite league, the NHL, right? Like, the first general manager that's black was just hired this past year.
Yep. I mean, we had more than one black player on the team at the same time with my Rangers. I was fucking beaming. Yeah, we had Keandre Miller, and we had the enforcer that we traded earlier this year.
Reeves. I thought that was a bad.
Yeah, Ryan Reeves. I think we had one more black player, too, that I didn't know was black until I saw the camera, like, pan onto him. It's like, oh, shit, he's black? And, of course, the puck is black, too. So
well, and that's why it's like I understand why it is. It's just it's irksome when they're done. I feel like when diversity hires are done to like interview and actually, oh wow, this is like, for example, the Rooney Rule's intention was like, oh wow, this guy's really well put together. Yeah, it doesn't matter what his skin tone is. I'm gonna fucking hire him, right?
Right.
But that's not what it turned into, and that's what I hate with certain oh well, a woman can do this job. Like no, she really fucking can't. Like
she doesn't really want to do it, but some feminist told her you can do anything that a man can do better. And now this woman has a large piece of machinery that just separated the lower part of her leg from the upper part of her leg.
Yeah. I mean, and when it kind of comes down to it, I think it's a shame, right, as human beings that we just can't do the right thing, right? Just hire
hire
the right person And like, cause we all bleed the same fucking blood at the end of the day. I mean, different blood types, obviously, but me and you could have the same blood type, and you look, you're a black man, and I'm extremely pale albino, and we could have the same blood type, and there's no difference. It's just a pigmentation difference,
Right.
and it's foolish in a lot of ways, and it's like, just doing the right thing would probably benefit society whole more than just sticking to like the boys club and kind of circling back to that conversation. I was actually this is the point I wanted to make. Excuse me, is that all the owners are essentially white, and they're gonna put certain people in positions of power that are white because they're like them. And I don't even think sometimes it's on purpose. I think it's subconscious.
It just it is
like,
definitely.
I like
Sometimes it's overt.
Like who's
Tom
that?
Sterling when he owned the Clippers,
yeah.
right?
When he was like on that like call
Yeah.
with that girl, like, oh, I hate them motherfuckers.
And she was black. That's the thing. He was all up in them black guts talking about why are you hanging out with them black people? Like the fuck?
Oh shit. But yeah, I mean, it's just a very interesting conversation. So
yeah, it's not there's no easy way to do it, because if you mandate it, people are gonna instinctually rail against it.